go.
It's under.
What?
You have to move that.
Okay.
I think if you just go to slideshow, it'll go to your current, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, transition to eating healthy for life. So this is what we are going to be discussing today. And this is the phase 2. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about phase 1. And phase 1 is the weight loss phase, where most of you, not all, but most of you are on the 5 and 1. And, you know, we talked about really being strict in that phase to get into fat burn. And now we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to go from being in the fat burning stage to transition. So we've helped you reach the healthy weight as your first step on the optimal journey. We will now talk about 2 elements to transition your weight loss regimen to help you sustain an optimal weight throughout your life. The amount of weight you lose will determine how long you'll be in phase 2. So even though phase 2 for a lot, you know, on the guide, it says 4 to 6 weeks, it really depends on how much weight you've lost on how long phase 2 is going to last, because we don't want to just say, okay, I'm at my goal, I'm done, I'm going to go back to eating X, Y, and Z. Because remember, that's what got us into the situation that we started in. So, you know, most of us came in with a weight loss journey, something that they wanted to change in their health and their weight. So that was phase 1 we went into. We talked about it. We did a health assessment to find out which program was right for you to get into phase 1. We stay in phase 1 until we get to our goal. And then we go into phase 2, healthy weight. Now, how do we know when to transition? Well, there's a couple things that we need to look at before we just jump into transition. Our BMI is less than 25. Now, if you don't know how to calculate BMI, there's other ways that we can look at this, but that is one way. Our BMI needs to be less than 25. All right, our waist circumference. Most of us have done measurements, and once a month or so, you're doing the measurements. So you're seeing the inches go down in your waist. For a man, the waist circumference should be under 37 inches. And for a woman, under 31.5 inches. Now, you know, some of us, it may take a while to get there, and that is absolutely fine. Everybody's journey is different. If you're measuring your body fat, now there's some scales that measure your body fat. Some people do the in-body scale, all of that. But if it measures your body fat, you're looking for these numbers. For men, it's 18% or lower is where you want your body fat. For women, it's 25% or lower. We're all made differently. So these are just some guides. Consider research. Considerable research has shown numbers higher than these put you at greater risk of the disease and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, when these numbers are higher than this. So we're trying to get out of that being in risk factors that will keep us healthy. So,
Yeah, so what Dr. Anderson is saying here is that when you're looking to transition, these are the numbers you're looking to get to before you begin transition. Okay, so as you're going in, you're checking your weight, you're checking your BMI, you're checking your body fat percentage. These are the numbers you want to hit before then. Now you start thinking, this is when I should be going into transition.
Exactly. How to know when to transition. Transitioning from phase 1, which is the weight loss phase, to phase 2 is your choice. So we have guides that we can look at, but if you are seeing those numbers where the chart said to be, but you still want to lose 10 pounds, then don't start transition yet. So if you have weight to lose, you may think about, you know, getting those numbers down first. Some people may say, I'm never, ever going to get to those numbers. You know, I have been overweight for years. Previous attempts have proven I'm never going to lose all this weight. Failures to change old habits. You know, we get into that rut, those habits, and we tell ourselves, I'm never, ever going to reach those goals. Those goals are unattainable. I'm not going to get there. Take it one day at a time. You will. You're going to reach your goals, but we don't have to look at, okay, I've got to get all the way down to here and I'm up here, whatever you're measuring, the weight, the BMI, the fat, whatever. Take it one day at a time. If you are consistent and in structure on the 5 and 1, if that's your plan, but if you are consistent and doing it exactly as you're supposed to, scientifically, it has been proven that you're going to get to those goals. But don't always focus on, I'm never, I can't, I won't. You will. One day at a time. How to know when to transition. It may be when you reach the number, or maybe before. I mean, you may have set a goal of, I want to lose 65 pounds, and you get to 50 pounds and you feel phenomenal and you like the way your clothes fit and your body looks and how you're feeling. That may be the time to start transition. You may get to the 65 pounds and say, you know, my ultimate goal really was 75 pounds. I want to keep going. So look at all of those factors before you just jump into transition. Each pound means a loss of more unhealthy fat. So if you're losing 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 more pounds, each one of those pounds is a pound of unhealthy fat that is on your body. Choose where you feel your best. It may have been high school or college weight. I'm not saying if you're in your 50s and you've never been whatever, that you have to get back to that to feel your best. But for some, it may be. You may have struggled with weight problems all through high school and college, and you want to get healthier than you were then. Absolutely possible. Maybe transition will be just when you feel your healthiest. Always remember the healthy numbers we discussed earlier. So even though we're looking at how we're feeling, how we're looking, the healthy numbers of our BMI, the waist circumference, that needs to play a role in it as well, because yes, this is part of your journey is a weight loss journey, but ultimately this is a health journey. We want to get you to the healthiest you possible. So if that means you're on your journey a little bit longer than you first thought, that's okay, because it's really the rest of your life. So, just because we are ready for transition mentally, sometimes we have to change the way we think because we want to be the healthiest us possible.
Yeah, remember that those numbers that we showed before are numbers that are proven that if you're above these numbers, the chances of you having some kind of disease, is higher. You're at a greater risk for it. That's why those numbers are there. So always, you may think about these other things, but always consider the numbers that we showed you before.
Premature slowing of weight loss. I've had this come up before. So some people will say I'm in a plateau, or I'm not losing anymore, or whatever. Well, as your coaches, first thing we're going to ask you is, okay, tell me what we're doing. Are we still staying in structure, eating every 2.5 to 3 hours? Are we getting our 64 plus ounces of water in every day? Are we still measuring our lean and green? I can tell you that is a big one, because many people get in that, oh, I've done it for so long, I know what it looks like. Okay, you may have known what it looks like, but as you are not measuring and stuff, things start growing on your plate. I've seen it. So really staying in that mode of, if you're home and cooking, pull that scale back out. It takes you an extra 2 or 3 seconds. Weigh and measure your lean and green. Now, if you still feel like you're slowing down, or the scale hasn't moved or whatever. Now, if that has happened for over 2 weeks, because after 2 weeks, then we can say, okay, you're at a plateau. But if you're staying around the same, that means your body is adjusting. You're probably losing the inches there, which is fantastic. So a lot of times you'll have those really high number weeks or an average week, And then the next week you're like, oh, I only lost 1 or 2 ounces. Okay, that's okay, because my guess is that's when you should measure your body. You've probably lost 3 or 4 inches, which is exactly what we want. However, if it goes past 2 weeks, you haven't seen any change at all, then you might be in a plateau. So here's some solutions. Picking only deep green choices for your lean and green can reverse the trend. Now, what that means, in your guidebook, pages 18 and 19, where we're looking at our leanest protein and we're looking at the lowest carbohydrate vegetables, focus on those for a few days. Just picking from the top choices. Don't get the higher carb vegetables. Don't get just the lean meat. Go up to the top of those. Eliminating snacks. I have found, because I was guilty of it as well, the snacks are great, especially for those days that you just can't make it through. But when you get in the habit of adding that snack every day, then it's, we get too comfortable with that. We're no longer counting out the 10 almonds, or we're no longer just having 2 dill pickles, or we're no longer, counting out the pistachios. We'll count them out to start with, then we go back and get a handful. That handful is about 200 calories, sometimes more. Mm-hmm. So try, to get past that plateau, get rid of the snacks, stick strictly to the 5-in-1. Be careful with condiments. A lot of people love the extra condiments, the sauces, adding the creamer to the coffee, spices that contain a lot of salt. If you're using the whole spices, like, the natural, the herbs and things like that, that's one thing. But when you're adding any type of seasoning that is mixed together, read the label. A lot of those have so much sodium that's going to make you retain water. So condiments can be, to a point, they're fine, but it's whenever we're just eyeballing it again, we're not taking out the measuring spoon. A lot of the condiments, it's 1 teaspoon, not the type of teaspoon that you get out and you eat with, the actual measuring teaspoon, which is pretty small. Same thing with the tablespoon. A tablespoon isn't getting the big tablespoon out of the silverware drawer. It's the measuring tablespoon, and it's leveled off. So being really conscious of those choices and knowing that you are only supposed to get 3 condiments at most a day. So if you want to break a plateau, get the leanest, the lowest carb, no snacks, and I would try to eliminate condiments for a few days to get yourself back into that fat burning, seeing the number go down state.
I'd also suggest upping your water too.
Absolutely. The more water you drink, the better. And, it does state that we should be concentrating on around 64 ounces. Well, you've probably also heard that we should be drinking half of our body weight in ounces of water. So 64 ounces, that's only if you're 128 pounds. That's half of your body weight. So if you're more than that, you really should start upping your water. While we're in phase 1, the fat burning phase, we focus on decreasing your weight by eliminating the unhealthy fat in your body, which will drastically improve your health and fitness. We have taught you a series of new eating habits that will improve the quality of food you're now eating. We are specifically limited some of the foods you ate previously and reduce the total amount of calories to turn on the fat burning state that eliminates the extra fat stored in your body. As you have done the program and you've been going through it, your body is now much healthier and your body composition has improved. Everything is going along, you're feeling great and all of that. Now it's time to start incorporating some of the foods back into your diet in transition. But that doesn't mean we're going to look at that list and add them all at once. Remember, transition is going to take somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks. And really depends on how much weight you've lost, on how long you really should be in transition. Transition your body to a full range of healthy foods. Eat more of a variety of meals. Choose the foods that help support your long-term health and weight. So saying that, we're not going to go back to eating cheeseburgers every day and pizzas every day because we want that long-term health and weight goals. Adding too many calories or overstimulating your insulin by adding high glycemic foods in this process of transition from phase 1 to phase 2 will cause you to gain weight. So we don't want to do that. We want to introduce things slowly so that we can maintain and stay at that healthy weight. The transition to your lifetime healthy eating strategy consists of 2 parts. Now, some of you have heard of and even asked me, some of you have, about the TEE, your total energy expenditure. We don't need to worry about that in phase 1. In phase 2 is when we start looking at that, and we're going to add calories until we reach that point, but we're not going to do it all at once. I mean, I calculated mine yesterday again, and I'm at just under 2,000 calories to maintain where I'm at, you know, and Matt's just under 3,000 calories to maintain where he's at because of our, you know, activity level. So you're going to be looking at that, but I did not go from eating 1,000 calories to 2,000 calories week 1 of transition. No, I couldn't do that anyways, but I'm just saying I didn't do that. But this was accomplished by keeping your insulin at a healthy level and continuing leptin's job of filling full, working effectively. So we want to make sure we're keeping everything level so that we're not having those spikes in hunger and feeling overwhelmed because we're adding this and we're adding that. That's the reason we do it slowly. And then we're going to use the transition eating plan. This is introducing a full range of foods to support optimal health and maintain your healthy weight. So we're going to do add one thing per week, not day. Determining your TEE. Okay, this is where math is involved. And I know some of us, well, I won't say us because I love math, but some of you probably don't care for math. And you know what? That's okay. You can Google it and put it, there's a calculator right online. You
Thank
put
God
in
for technology.
you put in the information, it gives it to you. But if you love math, you can do it by hand. First, we're going to add more and more types of food back into your day. You will know that you have your insulin and leptin imbalance because you're not going to be hungry. We're adding things gradually and you're still not hungry. Just like when you're in fat burn, those hunger pains go away. Secondly, you will watch your response as we add calories. Now, during phase 1, we recommend you weighing once a week. Phase 2, I would weigh a little bit more frequently so we can keep an eye on the scale as we're adding things back in. I'm not saying live and die by the scale, but it's a good gauge to know if, okay, I'm adding things a little bit too quickly. We want the number of calories taken in to equal that which is used throughout the day. So we must figure out how many calories we burn in the course of a day. This is how we're figuring out the TEE.
So I have a quick question.
Okay.
Do you know, like I wear a Fitbit and it tells me how many calories I'm burning, and I know like when I exercise more, it's showing, yeah, you're burning more calories. Is like using my Fitbit to gauge my calories out like appropriate?
Yeah, that would be appropriate, but also with the other things that we're going to be talking about, like talking about the scale. Okay, and really keeping an eye on what's happening with your weight, how you're feeling, everything like that. But yeah, the Fitbit would be just fine to gauge it to give you an idea anyway.
Yeah, but I would still at least know that number about where you should be at with, because with the Fitbit, you can also use the MyFitnessPal and track your calories.
Yes.
Yeah. So to figure out your TEE, it's determined by your basal metabolic rate. This number doesn't tend to change much. The second part is what you get to control, your physical activity level. So as you're adding more exercise, and then your thermic effect of the food you eat, this number stays steady. So really the one that you're controlling is that physical activity. So Math wise, this is how you do it. You take your current weight, you multiply it by 11. This formula is based on a sedentary level, so you will need to adjust it as you step up the exercise. So if you're not exercising, that's your number. As you are using the exercise, light exercise, moderate to heavy, don't overestimate this one. If you're going to the gym for 30 minutes and you are lifting moderate weights, and not really breaking a big sweat, I would call that light exercise. If you're adding the cardio, getting your heart rate up a little bit, spending about 45 minutes or so, then you have more of your moderate exercise.
Dr. Anderson suggests that if you think you're doing heavy exercise, multiply it the moderate exercise. He says instead go down and then be watchful on how your weight's going, how things are going. That you can always adjust, but adjust low at first, and then if you're seeing, if you're seeing something you're not wanting to see, then you can adjust from there. Okay.
Yeah. But then here's a website that has the calculator, but you really can just Google it. Now, your daily calorie intake, this is figuring out how many calories you need. You're going to take your TEE that you figured out, and you're going to subtract it from how many calories you were getting in phase 1, which is about 800 to 1,000. And then that is the calorie increase that we need to make over the period of time. But we're going to keep track of our weight and adjust this up and down to keep your weight stable. Again, we're not going from 1,000 calories to 3,000 calories in a week. Don't do that. Okay. Transition eating plan. Now, so here's where we're going to start each week adding something back into our diet. So journal your weight. If your weight is trending upward, check with your coach. So stay in contact with your coach. Don't go radio silence. You may gain as much as 5 pounds in the initial period of transition from rebuilding your glycogen stores and water retention. This will subside as you increase your activity and refine your habits of health eating over time. So that 5 pounds is okay starting out, because really it's, your body is adjusting. You're going to store a little bit of water at the beginning, but all that's going to go away as you're going through transition. Week 1, we're going to add vegetables, more vegetables. Week 2, you're going to add the fruit. That's the big one. A lot of you starting out saying, oh my gosh, I got to give up fruit. Short-term, long-term goal. Because once you get in transition, you're eating fruit every single day. Week 3 is dairy. And then week 4 is whole grains, and then 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein, depending on your activity level. Now, this picture that we have here is in that small guidebook that you have. It gives you a sample transition chart. It even gives you some sample meal plans. It's also in your Habits of Health book. The Habits of Health book, the big Habits of Health book, not the Life book, but the Habits of Health book, has a whole section towards the back of the book about transition. It's phenomenal. It gives you ideas to eat for your snacks and meal plans. It's a great part of that book. So transition phase, we gradually increase our calorie intake. Reintroduce a wider variety of foods. Calories needed varies according to your weight, your height, gender, activity level, and it's 4 to 6 weeks. Your ultimate goal at the end of that 4 weeks is about 1,550 calories. So what do we do with the rest of the calories? That's the reason some people, it may take 6 or 7 weeks to get through transition, because we want to gradually increase by 100 calories a week. So your transition may look totally different than the person on the other screen here. Everybody's weight journey is different. But this gives you a guide of what you're going to add each week, how many fuelings you're going to add. Again, it's very important when you go into transition, you need to order a full month supply of fuelings to properly go through transition, not 5 or 6 boxes or just the kit. You really need a full month supply of the fuelings. Now, after you get through transition, when you're in maintenance, that's up to you. If you want to keep a small order in for your snacks, keep your rewards coming, all of that. I know Matt and I will use the fuelings for our 3 snacks a day, but we have 3 regular size meals a day, being in maintenance. But that will be up to you. Again, the Habits of Health book gives you some options to fill in those 3 snacks. But for transition, again, you need a full month supply of fuelings. Okay, week 1 of transition. We're adding 2 servings of vegetables in addition to what we're already doing. So it says 1 cup of additional vegetables, which is 2 servings. We know that if we're looking at the lowest carb vegetables, our lettuce, our spinach, 1 cup equals 1 serving. So if you're going to add more spinach and that's all you're going to add, you're actually going to add 2 cups because it's 2 servings. So it's whatever vegetables that are on the chart that you're already eating from, we're adding 2 additional servings of vegetables. So that means, you're having 5 fuelings, you're having your lean and green meal, and now you got to incorporate more vegetables, but your dinner's already really a good size. Well, with your lunch, you could have a small salad with one of your fuelings. So maybe a shake with a small salad. And that's going to give you your extra vegetables. For me, for the extra vegetables, I add spinach to all my shakes. That's up to you. Now I'm going to tell you, some of you say, ooh, I ain't doing that. You can't taste the spinach. It turns all your shakes green, but you cannot taste the spinach. Gives a little bit creamier texture to it when you use the NutriBullet or something like that. But it's a good way to get those extra vegetables in. So 5 fuelings, your lean and green meal, 2 servings more of vegetable for a whole week, not a day. So if you start on Monday, you're not going to add anything until the following Monday. Week 2, here comes the fruit. Now, instead of 5 fuelings, we're going down to 4 fuelings. So we're having 4. Now, if you look at the sample meal plan, how many times a day are we eating? 6. Always 6 times a day. So you're going to incorporate it into other spots, the things that you're adding, but you're only eating 6 times a day. So we never take away anything we've added as the weeks go on. So we have 4 fuelings, 1 lean and green meal, 2 more servings of vegetables, and now 2 servings of fruit. So that could be 2 medium-sized pieces of fruit or 1 cup of cubed fruit or berries. So, if you look in your Habits of Health book, I think it's also, is it in this book as well? The Life book, in 2.5, you will see the chart, the low glycemic chart. And I would definitely stay with the lower glycemic fruits starting out. So, look in your book, look at that chart. Most of this is online as well. If you can't find it and you're in transition, reach out to your coach. They can send it to you as well. But 2 servings of fruit. All right. Week 3, we're still at 4 fuelings. So we're not taking, excuse me, anything away in week 3. 4 fuelings, 1 lean and green meal, 2 more servings of vegetables, 2 more servings of fruit, and now we're adding dairy. So that could be 1 cup of low-fat or fat-free dairy. So there is a great chart on that as well. Maybe it's going to be 1 cup of low-fat yogurt. There's a good place to add your berries, if that's going to be one of your fruits. So you can combine them, but you're going to get it in during that day. So we have 4 fuelings and everything we've already added plus the dairy. Week 4 is when we're going down to the 3 fuelings. That 3 fuelings eventually will become just your 3 healthy snacks throughout the day. But now we have everything we've already added, plus now we're going to add whole grain. So that could be 1 slice of whole grain bread, 3/4 cups of high fiber cereal, a 1/3 cup of whole wheat pasta, a 1/2 cup of brown rice. And that doesn't mean all of those things, it means 1 of those. So we're adding 1 whole grain every day. And then 4 more ounces of your lean meat, poultry, fish, or other protein. So this is where you can incorporate it, maybe having a white omelet for breakfast. You're getting your protein. You could add vegetables to that. Have your fruit, have your whole grain, maybe have a piece of toast with that omelet. So we've incorporated now all the food groups, and we're at about 1,500 calories, between 15 and 1,550. And that is where week 4 transition starts. So 3 fuelings, added all that back in, but we need to stay in that week 4, that meal plan for a full week before we start adding that next 100 calories each week until we get to our TEE, where we're supposed to be, the extra calories. Okay, so full month of fuelings will get you through the 4 to 6 weeks of transition. It's up to you if you continue with the fuelings for the 3 after that. But remember, if you don't continue with the fuelings, you will need to get your Habits of Health book out so you can figure out what to incorporate, because we are always going to eat 6 meals a day. But that also, in the Habits of Health book, that transition section towards the back really helps even know what it looks like as you're adding 100 calories more a week, until you get to that goal. Don't forget to monitor your weight during transition. Your weight may fluctuate a little bit. Monitor weight, I would say every couple days, get on the scale. Just make sure that you're staying within a certain range there. If you notice consistent weight gain, cut back on your calories. Go back to maybe week 1 of transition or week 2, depending how far you've went. If you notice consistent weight gain, cut back on calories, then we're going to recalculate your TEE. So that is important. I mean, you may get all the way to week 4 and you keep seeing a trend going up in your weight. Go back to week 1. That's okay, of transition. Everyone is different. Eventually, all of us are going to make it through transition into maintenance, but we need to do it at the rate that our body needs us to do it at. Give your body time to readjust its lower set point. So if you've gained 8 pounds through the transition, going back to week 1, give it time to get those 8 pounds back off. You're still adding the extra vegetables, then add the fruit again and monitor that. Be ready to catch yourself early. Don't let it get out of control because you've added things back in. Now that you're in transition, after you get all the way through this and you're now at your calories you're supposed to be at, you will move to the final phase, which is weight management. This is the rest of your life. We want to maintain our healthy weight. We want to maintain all the health benefits. Following transition and learning what a healthy diet is going to look like is going to help you do that. And still, even though you're not going to be on said program, the 5 and 1, 4 and 2, whatever you're on, you still have a coach when you're in maintenance. Stay in contact with your coach. Doesn't mean you have to talk to us every day, every week when you're in maintenance, but periodically check in, let us know how you're doing. We really do care. We want to help you, not just get to your goal, but to stay there.
The keys here really, again, is that once you get your set weight, okay, once you hit whatever, like me, 190, obviously the 1,550 calories wasn't enough, right? So knowing my TEE, knowing my how much exercise I put in, everything like that, getting to know how many calories I need to get in, and then increasing that slowly over a period of time, not thinking that, hey, I've got 1,550, I need 3,000 calories, I need to get all these calories in now. No, it's increasing at a slow period of time is going to maintain that weight. If you explode those calories up, you're going to explode that weight up. So it's being patient with what you're doing. Okay, so be consistent and be patient and understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Right? We're going to get to our healthy weight. We want to keep at our healthy weight It does take monitoring it. It does make sure being vigilant, as it says with the scale, being vigilant, knowing where I'm at, every other day, saying, okay, what is my body doing? And being aware of how your body's reacting to what we're doing during this phase.
I give myself a 5-pound buffer.
Yes.
So I stay at a certain weight, and it's okay if I drop down a couple pounds or if I go up a couple pounds, because, our weight is going to fluctuate. It's not going to stay at exactly one number. So don't get panicked if it does fluctuate a little bit, because it even does it while you're on program. It can fluctuate a little bit, but knowing that you can maintain within that, 4 or 5 pounds that you've given yourself to fluctuate, you're going to get there and be able to stay there. I'm walking testimony that will happen. I mean, I lost my weight 9 years ago, and my weight has stayed within that buffer for 9 years. And it's because I did the transition correctly. And now I live in the weight management stage, so, and you're going to get there as well, but it's really following the steps. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen over and over again. People that will get to their goal, go radio silent and say, okay, I'm done. I did the program. And then they'll have to circle back around because they didn't do it correctly. This is not a weight loss program. This is a health program. So yes, you're going to get to that weight goal, but take that extra 4 to 6 weeks to really transition and train your body how to metabolize and use up the new fuel that you're giving it.
And the great thing that over time, this sounds like a lot of work. Originally, at the beginning, it's a lot of thought. We really don't think about it that much anymore. We really know what what you're doing. You get better at it as you go, and it's just kind of the way of life, kind of easy. Okay, which is another great thing about program, is that, as you probably know, as you're doing it now, you're more aware of what you're putting into your body. You're more aware of what you're putting into your mouth. Well, that doesn't change as you go through transition and into maintenance and the life. I'm more aware now. I'm aware of what I'm doing. Previously, I was just grabbing anything, throw it in my mouth. Hey, whatever, going to the convenience store, grabbing something. And I wasn't thinking about it then, okay, but in a different way. Now, I'm just aware. I'm not thinking about it, but I'm aware of what I am doing.
Yeah. And you're going to become very good at, and if you haven't already, start looking at labels of things that you used to just grab. It's shocking. I mean, it shocked me of, yes, the carbs and the sugar and the sodium and the calories, that small amounts of something that I thought, oh, this is healthy, I'm going to eat this. And it's not. So choosing wisely as you're going through transition, but also learning to read those labels will help. All right. Let me see if does anyone have any questions? I seen someone raise their hand, but you'll have to take yourself off mute if you have a question.
All your pictures show people without all their fat. I still have fat. How am I going to get rid of that at 71? Not going to happen, right?
Well, you are, I'm sure your body has firmed up and you are seeing changes.
Yeah.
But, staying consistent, and you are going to see changes with that as well, because you've just started incorporating some exercise back in.
Yeah, until they close the pool.
Well, hopefully they open that back up. But as you are in, adding that as well, you're going to see the muscle tone and firming up as you're going with that as well. So that is going to happen. Sure. I have, no doubt with that. But, we've had multiple people that have lost substantial weight, well over 100 pounds, and they have seen the fat decrease and they have firmed up and doing great. Now, does some people have to have the skin reduction? Of course, some people do. But a lot of people don't. So it really is how your body is going to react to losing the weight. But as far as and getting rid of the fat, you are doing that. I mean, you've lost over 60 pounds, so you're definitely getting rid of the fat. And you've just started increasing your activity level, which is going to help with the firming up as you go.
And the consistency is a big thing. Staying strict to the 5 and 1 is huge. That really, the 5 and 1 is really the fat burner. You can lose weight just by dropping calories, but not burn the fat that you want to be burning. Okay, where the 5 and 1 is really staying strict to the 5 and 1 will really burn the fat.
Yeah, I really like having negative calorie burn for the week. I
Yeah.
enjoy that, you know.
Yes.
I'm sure you do too, because you have it all the time.
And
Yeah.
also, Jimmy, remember it's your visceral fat too that you've lost a lot of around your organs. So health-wise, even though your body may not aesthetically look exactly like you want it to look, a lot of that fat has gone, you know, when it's gone away around your visceral organs. So your health is so much better. But there are, you know, just like Suzette said, do some people, if they really want that gone, have to have, you know, procedures done to get it gone? Yes. But there are different things you can try. There's different collagens, but definitely talk to Suzette about that, because one does not fit all for sure. But there's different things that you can do as well as that.
Yeah, I'm just jealous of those pictures.
Well, you shouldn't be, because you are doing fantastic.
It's like looking at a 17 magazine for teenagers. Don't do it.
They'd throw me in jail for that.
Oh, I'm going to go ahead and stop share so that